Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday for our next installment of our QCDR webinar series. This is our 9th webinar that we've given this year for the 2017 reporting cycle. Today's title is titled Prepare for 2017 MIPS QCDR Data Submission Deadlines. My name is Alicia Blakey. I'm administrator here in our Quality and Safety Department. And so just as a reminder, this is our 9th webinar. We started this webinar series back in April, and so we hope that by this time, many people would have made the decision that they would like to use the QCDR to satisfy your MIPS requirements. We will continue to offer these webinar educational sessions until March of 2018. So apologies in advance if any of the content in today's webinar does not address your immediate concern or issue. And do please note that there will be a question and answer session following today's presentation, so we'll have some time for you to submit your questions. Another housekeeping item is that presentations and the presentation slides and the webinar recording will be sent following today's presentation to all who have registered for this session. So we'll just go ahead and get started. There's a lot to cover in a short amount of time. So what we will cover is the QCDR overview and process, MIPS reporting requirements. This will serve just as a refresher, just in letting everyone know of all of the requirements, especially with the changes between 2016 and 2017. We are focused more on quality measures and some other elements that are required under MIPS. We'll look at key dates and milestones. A lot of people are asking me, when is data submission due? When can I start selecting my measures or improvement activities? So we'll cover that information today. A follow-up on some data submission tips that we shared previously in previous webinars. It is important that you understand that depending on the types of quality measures you want to report, you will have to submit data to us in a specified format. And then we have some key takeaways. So just as a reminder for anyone who is joining this webinar for the first time, or maybe you have not joined us in a while, all of the registries that support our qualified clinical data registry are listed here on your screen. The National Radiology Data Registries has 6 different clinical data registries that could be used for MIPS reporting. Just recently, we've had some website updates to the ACR website, so I've included the link here where you can see our content is more streamlined and addresses your immediate needs on how to submit data, how to participate, and what are the fees. As a reminder, because we do have 6 clinical data registries, we have over about 80 different quality measures that physician groups and hospitals can select from to diversify your quality measure portfolio. So we have 56 MIPS quality measures that were your traditional PQRS measures, and then we have 24 non-MIPS quality measures which come from our different data registries. Regardless of the registries that you are participating in, there will be anywhere from 3 to 6 quality measures that you can use for MIPS reporting. As a reminder, ACR has been approved by CMS to be a qualified clinical data registry since the 2014 reporting cycle, and we're looking, and actually our CMS application for 2017 to be a or for 2018 to be a registry vendor is close to being final. So we'll have some good information in the coming weeks if we have been approved or not. A little bit on using NRDR as a qualified clinical data registry. Many of our registry participants have been participating in NRDR in one or many of our clinical data registries since about 2008. We've started the CMS quality reporting as of 2014, so there's still some unknowns or uncertainty about what a qualified clinical data registry is and what the essence is all about. So essentially, NRDR and the MIPS portal gives clinicians and groups control over your MIPS data collection and reporting processes. We have 3 strong aims that we're trying to achieve: collecting your data for all the MIPS performance categories. We want you to monitor your performance using our platform, whether it be the NRDR platform or the MIPS participation portal. And then the goal is that you are using the NRDR registry so that we may submit your data at the end of the performance year to CMS so that you can avoid any negative payment adjustments and potentially earn a positive incentive for using registry reporting. As a reminder, registry vendors are required to submit on Medicare and non-Medicare patients to satisfy data completeness, so always want to remind people of that. But the key 3 themes is collecting your data, monitoring your performance, and then reporting to CMS. And anyone who's used our registry for 2017 reporting or previous years knows that there's a lot of integral parts between each of these 3 theme areas. So an overview or a high-level overview of the QCDR process, because it is a little bit detailed because we have so many clinical data registries and over 80 quality measures that you can select from. This process does not work without your participation in the NRDR data registries. It relies heavily on your existing account, and your participation is linked directly to your NRDR account. So before even deciding to start the QCDR process, you have to have an NRDR account, we have agreements, and there's login information for you to manage that process. To decide which registries you would like to participate in, the step 1 is viewing any measures and improvement activities that you plan on using for the MIPS reporting cycle. And I forgot to preface this, but today's concept will be focused just on the 2017 MIPS reporting requirements. 2018 is fast approaching, and we'll have some information later on in the presentation for you. Step 2, we want you to, because this is a physician quality program, we do need information on your physicians, so we would ask that you use your Manage Physician tab in NRDR to make sure that all of your physicians are accounted for, and to make sure that we have all of your MIPS registry participation kind of outlined there under Manage Physicians. Steps 2 and 3 kind of go together. With that being said, we need to know your physicians. We also need to know your group information. A lot of people are deciding to do individual reporting or group reporting, and so your Managed Physician Group 10 page is where you're going to let us know if you are interested in doing group reporting. Your tax ID number is the number that you use for your professional component services, so that's how you bill Medicare, so we do need that information in our system. Steps 4 and 5 is very important. After you do all of the account setup, registration, get that out of the way, you can actually start submitting your measure data for the MIPS performance year. So as I mentioned previously, we have 2 sets of quality measures and for a total of 80 quality measures. So we want you to identify early on which measures you would like to submit to our registry and start that data submission process. And then step 5, we want you to monitor your performance data throughout the process. We encourage you to submit data monthly, weekly, whatever is feasible for your site, but we do want you to submit data at least frequently and often so that you can monitor things like your aggregate feedback reports, which are submitted to you quarterly, and then you can also view performance data in our MIPS portal. And just as a reminder for the QCDR process, this is a collaborative effort. It is meant to be managed by the facility administrator or registry administrator at your site, understanding that that administrator does need to work collectively with your billing companies, your IT support, your PAC administrators. Make sure that you guys are using a team-based approach because this is a huge process for one person to manage. And if you are working with vendors or billing companies, make sure that they have access to your account too so that they know what your data needs are. So just as a little plug to make sure that everyone knows that this is a collaborative effort. Transition to our QCDR feedback report schedule, I mentioned that our goal is for you to monitor your performance. So that means different things to different facilities based on if you're linked with a hospital or if you're your own solo small group. We want you all to work collaboratively to get data to us, mainly because our feedback is on a quarterly cycle. For our non-MIPS quality measures, feedback is provided at least quarterly, and these reports are available at the physician and the facility level. If you are submitting MIPS quality measures, we do ask that you submit this information through the MIPS portal, and all of your data is aggregated at your tax ID level. So it's very important that feedback, if you're looking for feedback on your quality measures for MIPS, your feedback is instant within 24 hours. If you're looking for measures for your non-MIPS quality measures, you do got to make sure you submit the right amount of data by the reporting cycle. So we're up to Q3 reports. Everyone should have access to a majority of your Q3 reports. So you can monitor your aggregate feedback reports. Some things under the aggregate feedback reports are your executive summary and also your QCDR preview report. So please do monitor that so that you can see that data is coming in to the NRDR as expected. So right now we're up to data collected for the periods of January through September. Keeping in mind that we still do not have a full year's worth of data, Q4 and the last quarter reports will be issued in February. So please do submit your data frequently and often. Do not wait until December 31st to submit a full year's worth of data. You won't get feedback on that, especially if you have non-MIPS quality measures until about Q4, which is February. So please be mindful of the reporting schedule. So the number one question is always, I've already participated in NRDR registries. I've set up all of my account information properly, but I'm not seeing any data. I'm not getting any feedback reports, or my MIPS participation portal is not working properly. So I thought it'd be important that we have a slide. As I mentioned, all the presentation slides will be sent out to all registry participants so that you can access this information after today's talk. But be mindful that how we attribute your quality measures is based on the doctor's NPI number. Obviously, that's how we identify your provider. And then the tax ID number, that's your that you use for Medicare billing. So these two numbers are very, very important. If either are not assigned to a physician record in our system, we will be unable to attribute your measure data to a physician or your group. So we're asking that you monitor your performance, and you can view all available measures in the MIPS portal. And then the key question is, right, we are all about you monitoring your data, so you may come up with some errors or some inconsistencies. We always ask that if you have trouble viewing any of your quality measures, to first check your Managed Physicians tab to verify that we have your TIN and your NPI information, and to be sure that it's assigned properly to your physicians. Very important, we understand that groups do have multiple tax ID numbers. Please be sure that all 10 numbers are accounted for in your Managed Physician tab. So there is solutions ahead. If you are experiencing problems with your portal or seeing your measures, we are here to provide assistance. We have written material to help guide you through this process. So I've worked with the team prior to today's presentation to just get a sense of, now that we have an NRDR help desk, we want to get a sense of, are there any common themes that are causing our registry participants to not be able to make the most of the QCDR? So this slide is really to build off of the previous slide, which talked about viewing and verifying your NPI and TIN information under the Managed Physician tab inside NRDR. This is a screenshot of what the Managed Physician tab looks like. We ask, it is a requirement that for all MIPS participants that you should verify that each physician has a valid NPI and a tax ID number provided for each registry you intend to use. So from my example here, I do have a grid of the Managed Physicians tab, and you can see this table. Right in this column, sorry I didn't highlight it, is registries and TINs. If any registries, so you can see from this chart that the MIPS registry is missing. If this site was interested in reporting MIPS quality data, that data would not be attributed to the physician or the group because the MIPS registry has not been selected. Additionally, you want to make sure that we have a tax ID number assigned to each of your registries, especially if you intend to use it for MIPS reporting. if you see that DIR is missing, but you're not interested in using the DIR registry to satisfy MIPS, no need to provide a tax ID number, but in most cases, we would like a tax ID number assigned to each of your records. Lastly, if you log into your NRDR account and you see that any of this information is missing, we are asking that you do fill out our Excel template that's circled here for you so that you can correct any missing information. Here's a screenshot of what that Excel template looks like. Everyone should have received an email. We just released some new enhancements to the NRDR registration process and also your user accounts. So I'm not going to cover that content here, but with that rollout, there was a change to our managed physician template. You no longer have to provide a username for the physician record. That information is going to be taken care of outside of this template. So we're understanding that you may have provided your tax ID information or your MPI information several months ago, maybe even several weeks ago. If you did it before today, there may be a chance that you have to populate our managed physician Excel template so that we can correct your information. Your information is correct and it's assigned to each physician record as you see here in this table. So I don't want to harp too long on that, but I do want to let you know that if you are missing this information, you can handle this information on your own. Check your table. The number one question is my account set up properly? Do you have all of my information, and what more do I need to do? This is a good place to log into your NRDR account, navigate to the managed physician page, and then you can see which information is missing. So we're going to transition just a little bit more on making the most of the QCDR because we understand people are at different entry points to the registry. Some people have used us previously. For some sites, this is their first time. We want you to just be aware of some of the key requirements. So physicians are required to log into NRDR and register for the MIPS portal. ACR can help you if a large number of your physicians have not completed this registration process. It is required and separate from your enrolling in MIPS process that you did under managed physicians. So be aware of that. Most people on the call, you are aware of this requirement because without your physicians being registered, we are unable to attribute any quality measures to your physicians. So this has been for the team, a lot of the questions are related to physicians not being registered. Your records that you submit for MIPS quality data will be rejected if the physicians aren't registered. Second bullet, we are asking you just as a reminder to submit all required data to satisfy your MIPS or your non-MIPS quality measures. So a key resource for you is checking the measure specifications, making sure you're knowing what all the required data elements are. If we need for turnaround time measures, if we need the date that your report was signed and completed, that's a key field that you have to provide to the grid registry in order for us to attribute the measure to your physician. So keep that in mind. Do check measure specifications because they do outline the reporting requirements and more information on kind of how we calculate the measure. As a reminder, do not forget to select your improvement activities for 2017. We are looking at all of the MIPS performance categories that a radiology group may be required to participate in. Primarily, if you're a non-patient facing clinician, your group or your individual provider is going to be responsible for quality and improvement activities. So we do have functionality in our MIPS portal so that you can select your improvement activities for each individual clinician or for your group. So please do go ahead and take advantage of that new functionality. Monitor your performance data. I can't say it enough. You can monitor it in the MIPS portal. If your information is missing from the MIPS portal, your backup is your aggregate feedback report. And then lastly, if data submission errors are identified, please fix and resubmit to the portal or NRDR. Sometimes when I'm on calls or I have ticket requests, I do really good at disclosing the error, and then the site then is a little bit confused on, okay, what do I do now? Well, if I disclose an error for you, then we have to work together to fix that and resubmit the data so that the problem does not continue. So it's pretty straightforward, but just wanted to make sure that I mention it here in this public forum. So a little bit on the MIPS reporting requirements. This is just a refresher. For 2017 reporting, radiologists can avoid a negative 4% MIPS payment adjustment or potentially earn a positive 4% incentive for participating in the MIPS program. So we are doing this for a reason. We're not trying to just submit anything just to avoid penalties, but there are some incentives that you could potentially get. So I'll take a quick walkthrough of each of the 4 performance categories. It's going to be very quick. The first one is your quality performance category. Your goal is to try to submit at least 6 quality measures, and the data completeness for this is 50% of all of your clinicians' applicable patients. So that's Medicare patients and non-Medicare patients. Of the 6 quality measures, at least one of them must be an outcome measure. But if you don't have an outcome measure, that is fine. You can report a high priority measure instead. For each of these quality measures that you report, you can earn anywhere from 3 to 10 points to satisfy your quality performance category score. The total points available for this category for most radiologists is 60 points. So if you do 6 quality measures, and let's say best case scenario, you get 10 points for each quality measure, that would be 60 points. Anything less than 60 points is possible also, because we are actually looking, or CMS is looking at your performance on your quality measures and then assigning points that way. Bonus points are available, but they are capped at 6 points. So I would say don't spend a lot of your effort on reporting so many quality measures. It is capped at 6, and that 6 will be a part of your 60-point score. For all of the performance category requirements, we have articles, reference material for you, hyperlinked on this presentation once we do send out the slides. If you want to know more about the quality performance category scores, points, or scoring, I do recommend that you look at that article. For improvement activities, the next performance category, as I mentioned, non-patient facing clinicians, you maximize your value by focusing on quality and improvement activities. So there are a list of 92 available activities. Hopefully by now everyone has downloaded our massive spreadsheet or navigated our MIPS portal so that you can filter of those 92 activities, which ones are you interested in reporting on. There is no data submission requirement for this category. You will be attesting yes or no that you complete the improvement activity for at least 90 days. So do keep that in mind. The total points available for this category is 40 points. If you have a high weighted activity, it will be 40 points, and a medium weighted activity, 20 points. And that is it is different if you're a patient-facing clinician or group. So be mindful of the improvement activity performance category requirements. We do have a full write-up on those requirements. The next category and last category that I'm going to cover out of the 4 is the MIPS the advancing care information category. A majority of our members are automatically exempt from participating in this category, so that means that there's nothing that you would have to do if you are a non-patient facing clinician or a hospital-based eligible clinician. You're automatically exempt. That 25% that's assigned to this category weight would be weighted to your quality score, giving you a total of 85%. So that's why we say you maximize your value, because 85% of your MIPS final score is related just to quality. Some quick requirements on this is that you must use a certified EHR technology system if you are patient-facing and you're deciding to participate in this category. You must fulfill the requirements for all the base score measures, and you can earn some bonus points. For anyone on our call, we understand there's some vendors on here. There's multi-specialty groups, so not everyone is just radiologists. If for any reason someone is required to participate in the ACI category, You still have until December 31st to submit an application to CMS to reweight this category to 0% for you. So it's not too late to do that if you are not automatically exempt from the category. Because we are a QCDR vendor, we will have functionality available so that you can have more information on the ACI category, and you will be able to submit your required measures for this category eventually in our MIPS portal. To learn more about these requirements, you can reference our article. As a reminder, majority of our membership will not be participating in this category for 2017. This is just a breakdown. I talked a lot about the 4 different performance categories. Each category does have points and has points that are assigned to each quality category. So for quality, it would be 60 points, and for improvement activities, it would be 40 points. The goal for any clinician or group, you're trying to achieve a final MIPS performance score that will range anywhere from 0 points to 100 points. Points are assigned based on CMS benchmarks and performance thresholds. I would say the performance threshold for 2017 is very low. Out of that 100 points, they're expecting that if you get at least 3 points, you will avoid a negative payment adjustment. So 3 points is very easy to achieve. We do not recommend anyone skip MIPS reporting for 2017. And I mentioned there's 4 performance categories. For 2017, we don't have to worry about cost. The cost category is not calculated for any clinician in the 2017 reporting year. So do be mindful that a majority of our membership is considered non-patient facing clinicians, so quality improvement activities will give you the bulk of your MIPS final score. Here's a slide on calculating the final performance score. I'm not going to go into the full details, but you can see that each of the 4 performance categories are combined or added together to give you a composite or a final performance score. And each category's performance score is multiplied by its weight. So that's how CMS is calculating your final score. A little bit on 2017 reporting is the first year of the quality payment program. MIPS reporting, MIPS has now replaced PTRAS, volume modifier, and meaningful use. Clinicians have a few options, a lot of flexibility to participate in this program to avoid a negative payment adjustment. As I mentioned, the performance threshold is only 3 points. Please do anything to get to have 3 points and avoid a negative payment adjustment. So you can test. Test means you're just submitting like one quality measure or an improvement activity. If you do that, you will get a neutral payment adjustment, no positive, no negative, so no harm there. And then the next 2 options, participating for the full year or participating for part of the year. You can report for 90 days or a full year and qualify for a small or positive payment adjustment. So do keep that in mind that you're not required to do the full year's worth of participation. If you are a 90-day reporter and you've decided to use our QCDR, we are asking that your data be limited to Q4 data for CMS submission purposes. So that would be October through December for 90-day reporters. A majority of our participants are participating for the full year since there are no change in the quality measures from 2016 to 2017 reporting. Excuse me, I'm just going to get a sip of water so that, sorry if my voice is going out. So just keep that in mind. If you do something, if you do anything, you will avoid a neutral payment adjustment. So when we get to September of 2018, when CMS starts notifying you of your participation from 2017, we expect to see very little penalty letters. Little bit on the MIPS final score is, as I mentioned, your target will be anywhere from a 0 to 100 points, and it is linked directly to your payment adjustment. So if you have 0 points, you would get a negative 4% payment adjustment. The performance threshold is 3 points for a neutral payment adjustment. I want to give some emphasis on the additional performance threshold. If you score greater than 70 points, you could be eligible for an additional adjustment for your exceptional performance. This will be a bonus for high performers, so keep that in mind. So the crux of why we're here, so now we've covered kind of how the QCDR works, the MIPS reporting requirements, and some ins and outs administrative tasks. It's important that everyone is aware of our key dates and milestones. Essentially, we've been working with our QCDR participants since January of 2017, more aggressively starting in April of 2017 when people started actually submitting data. And this process does go to March 2018. Key deadline for everyone here today is that the QCDR participants, we are asking that you finalize your data submission for your MIPS quality measures, your non-MIPS quality measures, or your improvement activities by January 31st of 2018. So there's still a few more weeks to wrap up any inconsistencies in your data. We will ask in between that time frame between January 31st, right after January 31st, people are going to start submitting or selecting, selecting your quality measures and improvement activities that you would like to submit to CMS. Everything that you submit to our registry is not automatically submitted to CMS, and we'll look at that in a little bit more detail. Our goal here, the performance period for 2017 really does wrap up, finish, complete by March 31st of 2018. You can see this calendar is very long. That's why this is our 9th QCDR webinar, because we have to keep you engaged for a full year. A little bit more details on the timeline, because what we just looked at here was just a snapshot of our timeline. This is the short and sweet. You can print it off quickly and share with your team. There are details outlined under each of those key deadlines or milestones. So the next milestone after we submit data, January 31st of 2018, we do want to start thinking about, okay, in February, by the end of February, we want everyone to have their quality measures, improvement activities, and ACI measures as applicable selected in our MIPS participation portal. So that is a core deadline of February. Get all your data in by January, and then we'll give you an extra month to fix any inconsistencies so that we can get it prepared for CMS submission. And then another note is that this deadline of March 16, 2018, we're asking that you log into your MIPS portal, and there is going to be a required attestation to make sure that you attest to the accuracy of all your data submitted for the 2017 MIPS reporting year. So at this time, let's just say if attestation is not complete by March of 2018, we would signal that as a means that you are not interested in using QCDR and you do not want to submit any of your data to CMS. So we do need you to complete that required attestation by mid-March. And then we do have full article in our NRDR help desk. Is also like a solution center. We have articles, resources for you to know more about the key deadlines. And they're not deadlines, that's why I call them key dates and milestones. These dates can be flexible depending on your group's need. So we will not cut you off or say, no, don't submit us any more data. We are a registry. Our goal is to get as much data as possible. Just one key note that I have on the measure selection process. We are working diligently to make sure that we enhance our CMS measure selection process. We've been a QCDR since 2014, but there was definitely a need for some improvement, and so we're making key changes to help you submit or select your quality measures that have ideal performance rates. And so there's going to be some new functionality that's coming in early 2018 for you to select your measures in a more efficient manner, as well as the attestation that's required. That information will be available to you shortly. For attestation, This is when, if you're an individual reporter or a group reporter, this is very important for you. Currently, how it's set up today, if you're a facility administrator for a group, we are allowing you to select measures and attest on behalf of the clinicians that's a part of your group. If you are an individual reporter, your physicians will be the only people who are allowed to complete attestation. So please be aware of that. When we get to our webinars in January and February, we'll be sure to give you constant reminders. But that's a very important distinction if you are an individual or group reporter. It's not too late if you're still scrambling to see if you want to do group reporting or not. Just go ahead and notify ACR and we can get that taken care of for you. If you are a group reporter, you will have one MIPS final score for all of your clinicians, so just keep that in mind. Little bit on the MIPS portal. People who've joined my previous webinars know that this is our central warehouse where, regardless of how many facilities your doctor reads for or how many NRDR accounts they have, this is the central location where you can review all your performance data for quality measures, MIPS quality measures, non-MIPS quality measures, and improvement activities. The portal is your central warehouse. In this portal, you can view the MIPS reporting requirements. This is the location where you would submit your MIPS files. You can review quality measures and performance data. We want you to review this portal so that you can tell us if your volume is accurate, your number of cases are accounted for. And this will be the area where you would select your measures and activities and complete any required attestation. So please do keep that in mind. And then the performance data that's in the MIPS portal, as I said, is not limited to one individual account. We do aggregate all your group's information by text ID numbers across multiple locations, so keep that in mind. This is an example of a snapshot of what the MIPS participation portal looks like. Specifically, this is our performance report tab. You will have information on your quality measure for each clinician, numerator, denominator, and your performance rate is really important when you're thinking about selecting performance measures. We'll cover that in subsequent webinars. A little bit on data submission tips for your MIPS quality measures. As just a reminder that with the NRDR, we want you to submit your data to NRDR, review all of your reports, analyze and compare your results to what you have in your internal systems against our data, and then develop any improvement or action plan that's necessary. For someone who's just deciding to submit data in December, this cyclical process of continuous improvement is going to be missed, but we do hope that you come back in 2018 and try this process. This is our goal. So for MIPS quality measures, just a few tips. We want you to use our, use our ACR defined data file specifications and templates. There are hyperlinks here in this presentation. Once you get the slides, you can click on them. We also have a file on avoiding common MIPS data errors, so how you name your file size, top error messages that you're going to get. The key top message right now is the invalid MPI and 10 combination error. If you have that error on your MIPS data file, we are asking the main way to fix that information is using the managed physician template that I discussed a while ago, but we can work with you, but that's the reason for that error. So we've had to document some of these things that are common themes. We want you to review your performance data and then view accuracy of your data submitted to ACR, especially in preparation for CMS submission. After you get all the data to us in January, February is when you're going to be selecting the measures. After you select the measures, they are then submitted to CMS in March. So please be aware of those deadlines. Few data submission tips for non-MIPS quality measures. We do have 6 different data registries. People who have participated in previous webinars, our most recent webinar was with our registry manager who does all of the analytics and all of the reporting. And she gave you detailed instructions on required data submissions, the file format, where to submit, where to download your feedback reports, et cetera. So this is just a quick snapshot. For the DIR registry, make sure that your triad software is the latest and it's working properly. Make sure your exam names are mapped properly using the REDLEX playbook in our online system. For the grid registry, it's very important. I get this question all the time. Some people are submitting data at the facility level and completing facility forms. For MIPS reporting, it is required that you give us exam level data, and we have instructions on that process. For the interventional radiology registry, you do need to use the SIR and ACR structure report template. HL7 messaging is available, and MIPS, and for the for interventional radiologists, you have MIPS quality measures that can be reported. So be aware that for the IR registry, you have MIPS quality measures and non-MIPS quality measures. And then lastly, for lung cancer screening in the National Mammography Database, it requires 2 years worth of data, 2016 screening exam with 12-month follow-up. So do be aware, if you only started participating in LCSR or NMD for 2017, it would be hard for you to have these quality measures attributed to you. As I mentioned, at the bottom of most of the screens, they have a lot of detail. We do have more information on the MIPS data submission process, and for each registry, what the requirements are. We would need longer than an hour if I was to cover all of that detail. Some key enhancements that we're making to the NRDR and the QCDR process, some of them you are already experiencing some extra benefit, hopefully, for your registry participation, and some are coming soon. So the newest thing is our NRDR Help Desk and Solution Center, where you can submit your ticket, and then staff will respond to you within 1 to 2 business days. So please do continue to submit your issues there, and also any positive feedback, because we use that information to generate these QCDR webinar series to make sure that we have timely information that you need, that's actionable, something that you can take home. The improvement activity selection, the MIPS portal is available for you. I've been getting a few emails about that. It's been available for a few weeks now, so if you could go into your MIPS portal and make sure to start selecting your improvement activities, that's important. The next 2 items, we have a new managed physician template, which is being released today. So if you downloaded this file in the past, it has changed today slightly. We no longer require your physician username, but all other required fields remain the same. So keep that in mind. You have the email about the single user account for facility administrators that manage multiple locations. They have several usernames and passwords and logins. We hope that this enhancement will make your job more efficient. Coming soon, some things that are coming soon are ACI measure selection. Even though a majority of our members are exempt from this category, there may be someone who is interested and required to participate, so we will have the functionality. We'll be enhancing our CMS submission kind of measure selection process. We will be enhancing our performance reports in the MIPS portal so that you can have CMS and ACR registry level benchmarks available to you, especially when you're selecting your quality measures. We don't want anyone selecting quality measures without viewing your full performance results, especially since that impacts your MIPS final score and your payment adjustment. And then the last 2 items, you'll have the ability to change your status if you're an individual reporter or a G-Pro. Currently, if you're interested in being a group practice reporting option, you would do this under the Managed Physician Group 10 page in NRDR. But we are building functionality inside the MIPS portal so that you can switch between individual reporter or group reporter. Just keeping in mind that as you do make those switches, your performance results will have to be adjusted. So keep that in mind. A little bit on the 2018 requirements. We have about 15 minutes on. We have about 2 more minutes of content, and then we could open it up for question and answer. So for the 2018, the next time we have our webinar will be in January, and all of you will be now thinking about the 2nd year of the quality payment program. So it starts January 1, 2018, going all the way through March 31st of 2019. We do have a detailed summary of all of the MIPS requirements. It was a regulation that was over 1,000 pages. This summary is about 8 pages, so please do download and share with your team so that you can be prepared for 2018 reporting. Some key changes is that for the quality performance, for the performance categories in 2018, quality will now be 50% of your score. Advancing care information will be 25%. Improvement activities will remain at 15%. And then cost, if cost is attributed to your radiologist, it will count as 10% of your score. Just like with the advancing care information in 2017, when the majority of our members were exempt, that holds true for 2018 also. Your quality score may be much higher than 50%. And then if you have no cost attributed to you. So if you have advancing care information and no cost attributed to you, your quality score would be 85%, like for 2017. So keep that in mind. The pick your pace options that I talked about earlier in the presentation, those go away for 2018. CMS does expect that everyone submit quality measures for the full 12 months. Any cost data that's attributed to you will be on a 12-month cycle. There is nothing that you would report. CMS would use claims information to assign costs or attribute costs to your radiologist. The improvement activity still stays at 90 days, and then advancing care information is 90 days. So that's just a little snapshot of the key changes for the 2018 MIPS requirements. If we are approved to be a QCDR, we would support each of the performance categories for 2018. So some key takeaways, and I know this content is a lot, I'm like losing my voice, but just know that this has been a long process, but the finish line is ahead, so please do not just try to hang in there and be positive. We are almost at the finish line for 2017, and then don't smile too hard because then we can start this process again for 2018. But we want you to verify for 2017, we want you to verify that your account is set up properly and make sure that data is submitted to all the registries you intend to use for MIPS. Review your data submission requirement, our data submission requirements and processes. Hopefully we've done that by now. Some people have found our information on the website. You can call us. We're here to provide assistance on why you're getting errors or where you need to start. Monitor your MIPS portal to view exam counts and performance data for your group, and then notify us of any discrepancies in data submitted to NRDR or the MIPS portal. Understand we have data coming in multiple channels to the registry. For each of our clinical data registries, we have subject matter experts for each of them. So we are here to provide a service for you, and we are available to you. As I mentioned, we have the NRDR help desk, and I call it now a solution center because we have core documents or core guidance on some of the requirements. The web address is here, nrdrsupport.acr.org. I bet everyone has access to that if you submitted a ticket to us before. But some of the MIPS core documents, because we have a lot of documents there, your MIPS quality measures, it's important to download that file. It gives you all the specifications and, most importantly, the 2017 codes that are available for each of the quality measures. Non-MIPS quality measures, we have huge resource, a full document on what's required for each clinical data registry and for each non-MIPS quality measure. So for cancer detection rate or positive predictive value, we have all those elements defined in one core document. And then if your physicians, the other core document is data submission. We have an overview that tells you if you're doing MIPS measures or non-MIPS measures. Please do use these resources because they are there to help you better ask the right questions so that we can troubleshoot a little bit faster and be able to address inquiries in a more efficient manner than just email. So. Save the date. Our upcoming webinar is January 18th, so this will be the last one for 2017. So happy holidays to everyone that has decided to join us. when we get to February and March, we'll have more office hour style, so less of me talking and more of you asking specific questions that are pondering you, whether it's selecting measures, improvement activities, downloading your aggregate reports, whatever. We'll be here to have office hours. And then, of course, you can always contact us through our help desk, or you can email us, or you can phone us using our hotline. I think that's all I had. If we could go ahead and open up for questions just really quickly, just wanted to show you, I mentioned it earlier in the presentation, that our ACR website has been redesigned. So now if you are looking for information on the QCDR or any of the clinical data registries, go to acr.org, click on Practice Management and Quality Informatics, and at the bottom of the list is Data Registries. If you click there, you'll have all of the information you need on each of our clinical data registries, specifically the QCDR or the Dose Index Registry. And so we've tried to streamline our content, make it more user-friendly. For the QCDR, everything that I covered, timelines, benefits of using us, how to participate, everything is here for you outlined under how to participate, our fees, our toolkit, our measure calculator, and how to submit data. So you can see, if you say I'm having problems submitting data to the registry, we always have to, okay, which registry and what are you trying to, which measures are you trying to earn, so that we can troubleshoot quickly. And I think that's all I have for now. If we want to open it up for questions, and any questions that we don't answer today, we can be sure to answer them offline before the end of this week. Are there any, Zach, I'll turn it over to Zach, are there any common themes that we should address? We have about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we've got a few here. Let's see. Okay. The first one we've got here is, how do we know if we are automatically reweighted for ACI? Is it based on the codes submitted? We are outpatient radiology and do some procedures, but the majority of our work is imaging exams.
The best place to do that would be to go to the source, go to the CMS QPP site, and there is a tool there that you can enter your NPI information and see whether you are identified as a special status, and that includes hospital-based physicians and non-patient facing physicians and the rural status. But you can also apply for a waiver based on other circumstances, and that you wouldn't see on that website. You would just have to have communication from CMS.
Thank you.
Okay. We've also got a question from Janine here. I don't think we've answered this yet. If I want to report as a group, will any claims data not be counted? And I'm assuming you mean reporting to the registry as a group versus submitting claims data?
I filled that out, but I didn't actually send it. So I think you're asking if you submitted by claims measure information to CMS already, and now you're deciding that you want to report as a group, what happens to the information, the claims information that you already gave to CMS. So if you're then, if you do submit data through a registry and you've already submitted it, some information, reported some information through claims, CMS will look at that as two mechanisms, and they'll only use one. They will use the mechanism that works out the best for the 10 or MPIs. But if you plan to use a registry and you want to report as a group, you can submit the measure information to the registry that you already submitted to CMS. So if you're submitting claims measures like 195 or 145 and those kinds of measures, and you put that on claims, you can submit that data also to the registry, and the registry can report that for you, so you can get credit for those measures as a group.
Thanks, Judy. So it's understandable that if you have claim submission and registry submission, that CMS will take whichever is most favorable to your group and applying the final score in the payment adjustment.
Okay. Next question here. This is a quick one from Denise. She's asking, under managed physicians, if there is no anticipated physician end date, what date should we enter? Do they have to fill that out?
It can be left blank, I believe, for the physician start and end date. I believe it can be left blank.
Yeah.
It'll default to, like, I think year 3000, but you can leave it blank.
Yeah, so don't worry about that. Next, we've got a question from Christina here. We've got a couple questions. Let me look at these really quick.
While Zach is looking through the questions, I just have up on my screen, hopefully everyone can see our NRDR support help desk in our Solution Center. I pulled out a few core documents that are related just to MIPS, but as you can see from logging in here, you have information on the MIPS program in general, benefits of our NRDR participation, how to get started, registering, payments, fees, and then if you keep scrolling down, there's submitting data resources for each clinical data registry. Particularly for MIPS, you can see that we have the common MIPS data file errors that I called out earlier under data submission tips, and understanding your feedback reports. So please do make use of these resources.
Okay, thanks. Here are Christina's questions. The first one is, what patients do we need to include? Is it Medicare and Medicare Advantage patients only? And the answer is no, it should be Medicare and non-Medicare patients. So all patients.
All patients, all payers.
And her next question is it correct that you can submit claims and registry information and that CMS will pick the best? And
yes, that is correct.
But not per measure. It's overall for everything that you've submitted.
Mm-hmm. And then it looks like we've got one more question here from Lori. She's asking, we have 2 doctors who retired in July and 3 new starts in June and July. Should their data be included for the times they serve patients as part of our GPRO? So that's 2 doctors that retired, 3 doctors that joined the group in June and July.
Well, definitely for the new doctors. The 2 that retired, you don't need to submit for. And it's slightly different in MIPS and PQRS because in MIPS, if a physician moves from one group 10 to another, their scores follow them. But since these physicians retired, then it shouldn't matter.
But do up your 3 new physicians, make sure that you navigate to the Managed Physician tab and make sure that their MPI and their start dates are reflected in your Managed Physician tab.
Okay, and it looks like that's everything for now, and that brings us to 2 p.m.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Apologies for changing this date. It was going to be this Thursday, so thanks for your flexibility. Hopefully you and your team were able to join. Remember, this is a collaborative effort, so if you're working with your facility administrator, make sure you're looping in your physicians or a physician champion. And if you're working with billing companies or vendors, make sure you loop them into this process so that they can help you be more efficient and ease some of your worries. Staff is here for you, and let's get to this finish line soon. Thanks.